Welcome to our ongoing series on women in DevOps. From their challenges and struggles to their accomplishments and successes, we will be taking a closer look at how they've made an impact to the tech industry. Join us as we explore the contributions and perspectives of these trailblazers and gain some valuable insight on how you can make your mark in the field of DevOps. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Today's guest is someone who I have personally had the honor of knowing for more than a decade. Mukta Aphale describes herself on LinkedIn as Nimble entrepreneur and outcome driven intrapreneur. To break it down for you, an entrepreneur takes a business idea and starts a company to bring that idea to market. An intrapreneur takes the same energy and passion to develop new products and services for an employer. Mukta has indeed essayed both these roles very successfully. As an entrepreneur, she founded Crewise Technologies to provide technology consulting to cloud, DevOps, container ops, tech ops, and full stack development in niche technologies. Crewise was acquired by MPL in 2019. MPL, or Mobile Premier League, is India's largest esports and gaming platform that offers 60 plus games to a user base of over 90 million users. As an intrapreneur, she's also a mentor at Founder Institute and runs a bunch of other initiatives. Without further ado, let's head over to Mukta. Hi Mukta, how are you doing?
Hey, hi, Savinder. I'm good. How are you?
Good, very good. And I wanted to start off by thanking you to take out the time to talk to me. I know you do a ton of things and you have a very busy life. So thank you for taking time out.
Likewise, Savinder. Thanks for inviting me here. I am actually feeling very honored and very excited to be talking to you. Yeah.
Thank you. And Mukta, we've known each other for what, about probably 10 years or maybe a little more now?
Yeah, I think maybe like 10 years at least, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we met at a DevOps conference, if I remember, in Pune
Right.
sometime back.
Must be 10 years then, I think. It like journey kind of started 10 years ago, so must be 10 years, yeah.
Around that time, yeah. So I
Yeah.
want to take you back even before that, and how you got started into DevOps. Right. So tell us about how you started into DevOps. Was it by chance? Was it by choice? And then why did you stick into this field for over 20 years almost?
So you know what, Savinder?
Mm-hmm.
What I feel is you asked, was it by chance or choice, right?
Yes.
What I feel is like if you get a chance, you should try to, make a choice and try it out. So I did get a chance and, after working for, big enterprise companies for 10 years, the first 10 years of my career, as a developer, C and Java developer. Okay. I had shifted to a startup company, 2012. That's what you're talking about. And I had shifted to a startup called as Clogeny. Okay. And at that, 10 years ago, that was era where it was, cloud adoption in full swing. And DevOps was a buzzword, will companies really adopt DevOps practices or is it just some fancy fad?
Correct.
So that kind of a period over there.
Correct.
And it was a period when you Google what is DevOps, it will tell DevOps is a philosophy. That kind of a period then. Yes. So, at that time, I was developing or, writing code for Chef. Right. So, I mean, do you think, people right now know what is Chef? Like, I think Chef was...
Probably not. Yeah. But it was a big thing at that time, Chef, Puppet was a big thing.
Exactly. And Chef, Puppet, they were like a, game changer in the DevOps adoption era. That's correct. Both of them have, been replaced with a lot of new things that have come up with.
Right.
So, so that's where you said go back. So I went that back.
Okay. Why did you stay in this for so long? Why not? I'm sure you've had multiple opportunities to, move into other things. Why stick?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was writing this code for Chef, right? The domain for me was DevOps, right? So, and then it took me so long to understand what this DevOps is. In fact, getting that Chef set up, configured, and what is the problem that it is solving, and what is that itself had taken a long time. And after that, if you have to be a good developer, you have to understand the domain.
Correct.
And the domain was DevOps. So I started studying, understanding, drawing a lot of, mind maps on, where does Jenkins fit? What do you mean by CI? So that was very early on, these things. And that is where I started liking DevOps actually. So, short answer, why did you stick there? I really was fascinated with what DevOps was doing. So DevOps was like, at that time, I felt like it's a horizontal across everything. Like you have to understand the business needs, and then you have to understand how the technology is working, and then you have to come up with some innovative solution, which, helps you understand. It's like one of the taglines at that time has to be is like, align your business goals with your DevOps goals, kind of a thing. Like how fast you want to take those decisions, and all of that felt so interesting that I had a choice at that time, I think, to convert into like a DevOps architect or a DevOps consultant kind of a role. So through that startup itself, I've actually, it was a startup through which consulted around, what is DevOps, how to do good DevOps kind of a thing for a couple of clients, then moved to a full-time role for a US health-based company as a DevOps architect. And that was also the time where I think I did probably the most contribution to the DevOps space, in terms of blogs, trainings, talks and conferences. And that's also the period I think we met at that time.
Correct. Yeah.
Did a lot of things, lots of self-study, POCs, side projects, lots of stuff. And it was very interesting. So that's how, gradually my profile turned from, DevOps architect to a developer to a DevOps architect.
Right. So you are one of those few people who actually went through the pain, then learned the domain, and then started talking about it, experiencing it. And now, look, you have a whole career built on top of that. And how beautifully.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. All right. So, how do you think DevOps is relevant today in 2023, especially with all this, AI buzz coming around and chat GPT and all of that, right? And specifically, not just as a career choice in general, but as a career choice for women.
Yeah, so I think DevOps is like a mainline stream now. It's like it's come into it's a mainline activity. It's there to stay, and it's going to grow. So it's evolving, and it's evolved a lot. And when it's kind of stabilized, so the way I think Savinder, like since when you have been, or you started out with DevOps, or I started out with DevOps, to the way it is right now, there has been massive transformation, and things are now kind of stabilized.
Yeah.
So having said this, long time ago, 10 years ago also, not just women, but men also had that apprehension around, should I actually make a move to DevOps? And the same question is there today as well. And however, this problem is not, 10 years ago, it was like a bet that you play. Pata nahi wo aayega, like DevOps aayega, jayega. And then you probably lost a couple of years trying to study something which is just got obsolete by the time it was a buzzword itself. But however, now that things are stabilized, I think that's a good career choice. And why not? Like if you are really interested in trying out something, in technology or in DevOps, so why not? In fact, I think that today women, most of the women who might be hearing this or listening to this, seeing this video, I think most of us have been kind of lucky, thankfully lucky, where we do not, are not really asked not to do what you want to do. Like if you really want to do something, I think the supporting structure is there in place. So if all that you have to do is figure out whether you want to, whether you want, and why not. I think DevOps is vast. It has a lot of different things. Like you could be writing code and scripts for DevOps automation. You could actually try to do something like manage the infrastructure, or basically do something like an operations job or a
Okay.
cloud admin. You could also be like an on-call tech support engineer kind of a thing.
Mhm.
So there are multiple things. Again, within this automation development, there are so many different things within DevOps. I think
Mhm.
it's a platter, and you can choose, you
Right.
can figure out where you fit in, and that is like more likely to, it's you have more options here, right? If you
Correct.
are in that
Correct.
phase where, hey, will I be able to do it? Will I be able to manage family and
Mhm.
career?
Yeah.
So actually, there's so much available inside the DevOps space itself than
Mhm.
saying, I learned one language and then I applied to one domain.
Right.
Then you have too many choices. And then say after a year, oh, I should have learned Python and not Java. So,
Mm.
that's not an issue here. Here, this DevOps is like a big platter. And the more things that you learn in DevOps space, actually, that's how you start growing in this DevOps thing. So I think it's a good thing. Like if anyone like is contemplating,
Mhm.
should I? Actually, it's a good place to start off with, and there's nothing to fear there. Like, and
Sure.
in fact, I saw a video of something there. It's really well made, well
Oh,
researched.
thank you. Thank you. I've
Yeah,
been
I think
fortunate to be surrounded by a lot of good women, so I drive inspiration from that. So
right. So I
I
think
was
yeah, people
talking,
should watch that video also for why women
thank you.
should
So
be
I
learning
was talking
DevOps.
to another consultant, and he said that today DevOps is like a multi-cuisine restaurant,
Wow.
right? All you have to do is first you have to make up your mind whether you want to go Chinese today, Indian, Asian, which one, and then within that you have like a bunch of dishes. And he said the most beautiful thing about DevOps is midway you can change your cuisine, and nobody will mind. So I think that's what you're
Very
also
well
alluding
said.
to.
Absolutely. This is really well said.
Yeah.
Really well put. That's exactly what I said. Very
Correct,
nice.
correct,
Yeah.
correct. So tell me this, is there a slightly less technical path in DevOps that somebody can take? Let's say I'm not very technology savvy, I'm afraid of writing scripts, and I'm
Mhm.
at a stage of my career where I don't want to go into those 3 a.m. calls. Right? Is there a slightly less technology path I can take, but still be in and around DevOps? Is that possible today?
I think so. Yes, right. Like, in fact, if so, basically, I think the cloud admin or the cloud admin and operations role wouldn't require you to write any kind of code or
Mhm.
something. And in fact, I think that would be the good entry point for switching to a technology
Mhm.
career. That would be the best choice there. Like there is typically some kind of a run book that's available.
Right.
If something happens, what you need to do.
Mhm.
So what do you think? I think that's a
Sure.
would be a good
What's
job, a good
what's your
entry
thought
thing.
about stuff like let's say a community builder or a devrel, a developer relation? What about those
Oh,
kind of roles?
yes, absolutely. So, or even something like an analyst, someone who
Yes,
is trying to
absolutely. Yeah.
understand. In my previous company as well,
Hmm.
we had one analyst for the DevOps team. There was an analyst who was working in
Okay.
trying to understand get some insights into how your product is working, or how you get a lot of logs and you get a lot of
Right.
events in those logs, and then you try to analyze like what is the trend. So
Hmm.
what if the marketing team runs this ABC campaign,
Hmm.
and they run say some other second campaign, so which one was better?
Ah,
So if
okay.
you
Okay.
actually look at this and you can try to analyze those trends. Now
Oh,
this is something which is not really I wouldn't say it doesn't require a technology something,
technology.
but
Correct.
it's something which requires some kind of analyzing. I think that's a very
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
role to be in,
Sure.
actually.
Sure. So let's say it sounds very weird. I am a woman. Okay. Let's say there is a woman. I'm used to putting myself in the shoe, but then I realized this is taking it a bit too far. So let's say a woman wants to start in DevOps today, right? And if you Google DevOps courses, there are a million of them. You don't know whether to start from Kubernetes or cloud or go to Java or what. So, what's your advice for somebody who's just fresh out of college or maybe 2, 3, 4 years experience and wants to start into DevOps? How to start? What's the step 1, 2, 3? Sure.
You're like a fresher out of college,
Mhm.
and you would actually have learned things like systems programming. Or so
Mhm.
basically DevOps or infrastructure today is like an extension to that. There's a lot of
Mhm.
virtualization on top of that. So all that you have to understand is those, basics, and try to learn something like AWS, and maybe Terraform. So if
Okay.
you're freshly out of college, that would actually help you, because there's a lot of Terraform automation or infrastructure as code. That area is something which actually is the best for freshers to start with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why, learning Terraform. So you need to have some cloud knowledge, but learning Terraform is something which is like kind of least risky for the, team lead or someone who's
Okay.
managing you,
Okay.
because that is something you first try out on the dev and then gradually
Right.
it goes
Right.
back. So you're not directly handling production systems. So that is the
Correct.
first entry point.
Sure.
I used to say something like learning DevOps is like learning how to ride a cycle. You will,
Okay.
no matter how much theory you do, you will
Correct.
not learn until you actually try to ride, and you will definitely fall once or twice before you can get a hang of it. So
Perfect.
you
Yeah.
are going to make blunders, and I think there are every DevOps engineer will have a story to tell, how I messed up production once, but then
Absolutely.
I brought it back up.
It's a great example, and I used to consult with a retailer in Europe, and they
Mhm.
had literally a badge of honor where they said to every new employee, they would say, "Have you broken production?"
Right.
Uh,
I also, you had spoken about what if you have a couple of years experience
yes, yes,
and then you want to move into DevOps.
yes,
Then in that case, definitely even things like cloud admin or something, because with some experience in the tech space or in something, you are a little cautious about, what not to do, so that things will not break, kind of thing. If you have developed that mentality, then you can actually start, the other thing to start doing is the cloud admin or the cloud operations kind of a role. And then eventually you can start learning some kind of scripting or programming language. Actually, I'm a very big advocate of, automate stuff,
yes,
do what you want to do. So if you're going to do anything twice, and it's not DevOps only, or it's not women only advice,
yeah,
but in general, if there is anything you're going to do repeatedly or something that's going to take your time, automate. And it need not be awesome code that you write, just good
correct.
enough that it's done automatically. And
That is life advice. If you're doing something thrice, automate it. I love it.
exactly.
Love it. Beautiful. Okay, so let's take this one step further. And I talk to a lot of people who are in their, 10, 12, 15 years of experience. Maybe they are from the QA background, an operations background. And now they are reaching a point where they're feeling stuck in their career because, this excitement is gone and you want to do something different, right? And they don't come from a development background, or they've done development 12 years back, it's not relevant now. So is
Yeah.
there a space in DevOps for them as well? Can they do something?
Absolutely. And if you are one of those 10, 15 years experience
Hmm.
who's thinking about moving to DevOps from some other background, please send me your resume. Please send me your resume. Please send me your resume.
Okay.
No, actually, on serious note, definitely we need someone who is, who's had experience in uh, QA development, or, or any other, something like an analyst or someone from a non-tech background as well.
Hmm.
And that is what I wanted to make that point clear is, as a fresher, typically, I mean, respect to everyone, even the freshers out there, but there is that chance of not knowing what not to do
Right,
while
right.
working in your company. Even
Correct.
if you're from a non-tech background, you definitely, after 10 years, what you develop is, be a little sensitive or understand what not to do before you start learning what to do.
Yeah.
Technology is something you can learn. If you have that right attitude, no, if I want to know what can I do if I'm stuck, go ask the right questions to the right people. If you can build on that, you can
Mhm.
learn any kind of technology, including DevOps. Especially so for women, sometimes I feel that's something which they don't speak up. So they
Yes.
don't have this thing. And that is why it's like, hey, I don't know what to do now. So probably I'm not good enough. So I might as well just quit. So don't quit,
Mhm.
ask for help, and just ask, go, and basically have that confidence, network, talk to people. And a lot of people are available, and there are a lot of mentors there, a couple of them on LinkedIn. And actually LinkedIn is the best place right now, instead of going all over the place.
Beautiful, beautiful answer. Ask and I shall receive. Yeah,
Yes.
love it. Beautiful. All right, so we're running out of time, Mukta. One last question. 20
Mhm.
years in this space, any regrets? And would you do it all over again?
Okay. So no regrets, actually. In fact, very, very grateful for all that this DevOps life has given me. Everything and everyone along the way, very grateful and very happy about the choice that I made. Okay.
Yeah.
And will I do it again? Okay, that's also a choice. Okay.
Yes.
So definitely, what do you think? Yeah, should be doing it again, right?
Oh, why not? Why not?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Right, absolutely. So definitely, I would love to and would love to continue doing actually what I'm doing. So really happy. And
I have a feeling we're just getting started here. This is just a warm-up lap. Now we are ready.
Absolutely. So there's always a new problem to solve. There's always a new use case. So it's really fun. So solving new problems every day. Lovely space.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much, Mukta. That was very, very useful, very practical advice given. And I'm sure a lot of women and men will gain a lot of wisdom from this. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thanks, Avinder. Thanks for inviting me here.